This is the plaintiff, Wayne. He says he ordered tiles from the defendant to redo his bathroom, and the guy screwed up the order big time. He wants a refund. The defendant's not an honorable businessman, and he's suing for the $1,274.83 he's owed. This is the defendant, Joshua Sherrill. He says the plaintiff ordered tiles in 2 batches, and when you do that, you run the risk of tiles being off in color due to dye batches. He's sorry, but the plaintiff refused to work with him to eradicate the problem, and he owes nothing. He's accused of being a little off color.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the store where he purchased bathroom tiles is ripping him off because the tiles were the wrong color and he's not getting a refund. But the defendant says the guy bought the tiles on 2 different days, weeks apart, and they don't guarantee the dye batches for the 2 separate purchases. It's the case of being a little off color.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Wayne, you were embarking on a home improvement project. You were remodeling your bathroom?
That is correct, Your Honor. I was retiling the old shower.
Okay, so you went to the, you're the manager at the store, Mr. Sherrill?
Yes, I am the manager.
So you went to the store and what did you purchase?
I purchased 7, 8 cartons of wall tile. And then I also ordered what they call bullnose tile, which is a finished tile.
Okay. Now, what makes it a bullnose tile, Mr. Sherrill? It's a narrow kind of strip that's on the trim. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. It has a rounded edge. So it basically gives a nice, clean, finished edge. Yes.
Little finish. All right, so you ordered it, and then it came in, and you picked it up when?
I picked it up approximately the first week of January of 2020.
Okay, and so we're talking about how many boxes of tiles?
It was 8 cartons of wall tile and 1 carton of bullnose tile, which included 36, and then 8 loose bullnose tiles of the chocolate color, and 4 bullnose colors of what they call the ecru color, which is like an off-white cream.
Did you inspect them before you left the store?
Well, I picked them up at the warehouse. When I did pick them up at the warehouse, I looked at them, opened the carton of the 36, pulled out 1 tile. It appeared to be the same as the others.
You didn't look at all of them?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Okay, so then you go home, and what happens?
Well, I started the tiling job about the first week of February. And then by the end of March, the bullnose tile is actually a finished tile. So you finish off the edges, and they usually go up last.
Right.
So by the end of February, beginning of March, I installed first the 8 pieces of loose tiles, which were the same color as the wall tile. When I went into the box, it was a hodgepodge of different colored tiles. Same color, just a little bit lighter. It's a different tone, if you will.
Okay. So what'd you do?
Well, I went back to the defendant's place of business, and I informed him of that. And the sales associate I was working with was going to contact the tile manufacturer, who was in Italy. This was about the beginning of the COVID-19 start. So Italy was one of the first countries to lock down. So it took quite some time for them to get back. When they did get back, we were informed that tile that I purchased had been discontinued.
So they couldn't obtain any more bullnose?
That is correct. The tile line
So
was
then what'd you do?
Well, the sales associate I was working with had reached out to the tile representative of the distributor here, and we decided what we would do because there was no more bullnose available, that the tile rep would go to his retailers in his district and get as many of the wall tiles as he could, and we could make not a true bullnose, but we could get 4 tiles to cut down with maybe mimic a bullnose.
Okay. And then, so did that happen?
It did happen. The sales rep did get 16 tiles. Of the 16 tiles, only 4 of them were the correct color. The other 12 were of the lighter brown, so they couldn't be used.
So then what'd you do?
Well, then I called the defendant's place of business again. They had one of their installers come out to take a look at it. And he said, he could probably do it, but it's going to be at this point just trying to salvage the job of what I did. And he wouldn't have been pleased with the way it looked.
Why wouldn't he be happy with the result?
What he said to me is he don't think that would look very well because the rest of the shower was done properly and nice. And now what he was doing, he's just trying to throw something together.
You'd have to rip out those tiles, and then you would have to have enough of the correct color and then do a complete bullnose around that where it all matched. But nobody's finding the tiles because you need more tiles. Why? Because according to you, the box that you bought had different color browns in it, that there's variations and shades. Let me hear from you, Mr. Sherrill. What do you know about this case?
Okay, so a lot of the things that he has said, he's left out a lot of truths. So when it comes to tile is made with a production run. And with each production run, whether they produce 10,000 or 100,000 square feet of those tiles, every one of those would be the exact same color. When it comes to bullnose actually is not dye lot specific. So there is never a guarantee that any bullnose will ever match a specific lot of a tile that is produced.
So if I go to your store and I've ordered bullnose and tile, I've actually done this. I've actually stood at the warehouse opening like 3 or 4 tiles from each box. They were so mad at me. It's not normal that people do that. But if I'm buying tile at your store and I don't do that, what's your policy?
Our policy with a cash and carry, so it's different because the main portion of our business is actually to do the installation itself. So if this was something that we ran into when we were to do the installation, it would have been addressed immediately. But Mr. Adams purchased the tile and the bullnose, and once he took possession of it, it states clearly on the invoice and the disclosure that he signed stating that there is no guarantee in dye lots and that all sales are final on a cash and carry. There are no returns on special orders, which his order was technically a special order. And a customer takes possession of it. See, when it comes in, we inspect it. We make sure that there's no damage. Once the customer takes possession of it, technically they own it. It is unfortunate that the bullnose didn't exactly match his tile, but that's totally out of my control. And that's why we actually attempted to see if we could acquire additional bullnose that we were going to give him free of charge.
Can I ask you, he says that your guy that you sent over there said, oh, this isn't going to work. Is that true or not true?
No, he took his own tile and he had his own installer. We wanted nothing to do with his installation because he was refusing to pull a permit. I actually went to the county's website and pulled up his address, and there are no permits pulled for his shower, which is a code violation. When he came in, the plaintiff did, and he told the owner that he thinks that he should do something about the situation. And the owner asked him, well, I need you to elaborate. And the plaintiff, he then stated that we should provide him with free tile and free installation, which then the owner proceeded to tell him, absolutely not. We will not give you free tile and we will not do your installation. And so the plaintiff then threatened the owner by telling him, I hope you have a good attorney, which I heard those words come from the plaintiff's mouth. And therefore the owner told him straight to his face, I'll see you in court. He said, I'm sick of people coming in here trying to take advantage of good business owners.
Mr. Wayne, let me ask you a question. Do you read the contracts that you sign?
I did read the contract, what they call the contract to purchase.
And what does it say?
Well, it says, I believe, on the 3rd paragraph, materials will be inspected and damaged product will be returned to manufacturer. Then the next paragraph, it states, is not responsible for dye lot differences when attempting to match existing materials.
Go a little higher.
Yeah.
In between those two. The flooring company is not responsible for any damaged products once the customer takes possession of materials. You see where that is?
It does say that. I do see that.
Yeah. So if it says that, let me ask you a question. Isn't that then an absolute defense to you complaining 2 months later that you don't like what you picked up in a cash and carry situation?
Well, no, Your Honor. I believe that the tiles weren't damaged. They were miscolored. Now, if I go down to the next paragraph where it says is not responsible for dye differences when attempting to match existing materials, my existing material did not match.
No. Cash and carry is cash and carry. Cash and carry is like there's no returns, and you go to the store and you ordered it and it came from Italy, and then you take it and you better inspect it before you take it. And that didn't really happen. You yourself say they looked to match. I don't think you looked. And then 2 months later, it's a problem, but you want them to eat the entire problem instead of you eating the problem. And that's the problem that I'm having, because it's your project. And if some of them don't match with the other ones, that is a typical thing. You're claiming that it's the 36 tiles that don't look the same. He's claiming he bought more bullnose and they're different, whatever. He's also telling me, but it's entirely possible, Judge, because bullnose isn't from Dye Lot. I don't know. I do know this, though. I don't know tile, but I know contracts. And your contract means that you're out of gas here. And my verdict in this case is for the defendant.
Wayne, let me ask you, what's your reaction to the judge's verdict? What are you thinking right now?
Well, I didn't exactly, I mean, I respect it. I don't agree with it. I just wanted the tile replaced.
All righty. Well, I'm sorry for you, but that's the judge's decision. You're going to have to live with it. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yes,
Sherrill, let
will.
me ask you, how do you feel about this case? I would imagine you feel pretty good right now.
Yes, sir. I completely agree with the judge's decision. And, I'm not a spiteful person. And, I did try to help the plaintiff out as much as I possibly could. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for him.
Well, congratulations. You win the case.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, let's join the judges now. Here's another edition of After the Verdict.
You say you don't know tile, but you do know contracts. I'm here to tell you she knows tile, okay? Because you've been bit by this dog before. The same things happen to you. We went to half a dozen tile places at least, and we're in the back in the warehouse, and you're opening up boxes, and the people working there are getting aggravated at you, and it was...
Sure. I would never cash and carry out of a tile company without pulling out several tiles from every box.
And at the end of the day, it's a contract case, and it says cash and carry. So, I mean, you get the cash and carry stuff for a better price probably, but you're stuck with the consequences if you don't open it up and check everything out. It's like going to the drive-through window for the burgers. If you don't look in the bag before you leave, you might have a problem.
Something you're an expert at.
Never look, never.
So Michelle wants to know this. Hey, Harvey, I rented an apartment with my boyfriend and he left me and is now ghosting me. Can I remove his name from the lease and then move out? Well, I'm not sure why you want to remove him from the lease, because as long as he's on that lease, he is responsible, along with you, for any breach of the lease, like back rent or damage. So honestly, don't remove him. If you remove him, if the landlord allows that, he's off the hook. And you don't want that.